My name is Brian Thomas. I work at Get to College.
So I'm Dr. Sheena White, and I do comprehensive college planning here at Terry High School. So I teach senior seminar, super exciting course, because what I do is help students with their post-secondary decision making in terms of them going out in the world and doing all the wonderful things. So it's a really cool course.
And I'm Stacy Michelle. I'm one of the counselors here at Terry High School.
Hey, I'm Michael Mordecai. I'm also a college and career readiness teacher. This is my second year doing this, and I completed the program over the summer with Get to College, which was incredibly informative and gave me a lot of material, which I'm using today. So I've been very thankful for that this summer. I've even shared a lot of it with some of our other teachers and just kind of how it all goes about. So I mean, it's been an incredible source of information and material that we've been very thankful to have. But I also coach a few sports up here, so I mean it's a lot of fun being involved as much as I feel like I am. So I mean I've enjoyed my 5 years at Terry and helping students achieve their post-secondary career goals. It's worthwhile, and that's what I enjoy the most about what I do here.
I'm Carmen Kelly. I'm the career coach here at Terry High School. So my primary responsibility is assisting students with navigating what life looks like for them after high school. It may not be college. It may not even be entrepreneurship. It could may not be military. Some students want to go straight to work, and I assist them with finding employment that will allow them to earn a livable wage. So that's what I do here.
Say we really talk it up. I mean, sometimes it's hard to get 17 and 18-year-olds to see the value in completing their FAFSA form, right? It's not that important to them. And so I think all of us just talking it up, letting them know how important it is. I mean, I even had a parent come during like back to school, and she was like, well, I know we're not going to get anything from FAFSA, but regardless of what their financial situation is, we had every student, our goal was to have every student complete the application. And so talking it up leading up to that October 1st and that October 2nd date. And so I think that's sort of where it started, like letting them know, okay, we got to be prepared, once the application opens, and having everything you need, because one of the things that they needed was their social security number. And again, 17 and 18-year-olds probably don't know their social security number. So we're like, October 1st and October 2nd, come to class with your social security number. And so we really sort of, again, talked it up and stayed on them and just stay connected, like everybody on the call, like the counselors keeping in touch with us, letting us know when the application was open. And then Miss Kelly also, when we couldn't get students, because students were able to do their portion, but then there's also a parent portion. And so sometimes when we work together to get the students to do their part, the parents' part wasn't done. And so like we would send students to Miss Kelly and have her connect with parents. And so it was really, I think, a team effort, but talking it up, number one, having students come to school prepared to do their portion, and having them do it as a class. I think that was a game changer. Like telling them, okay, go home and complete your FAFSA. No. Like having them come to school, open those computers. All right, it's October 1st. We're doing this together, And so having them all across our college and career readiness classes complete that FAFSA together, I think was the biggest thing.
Another key part is educating them on it's not always just financial need. It's what the institutions use it for. So it's looking at scholarships, and sometimes it's just a matter of having the application on file. So understanding it's a multi-purpose application that they need to go ahead and have on file, and what the benefits could be from doing that. And it's not only educating the students of that, but sometimes it's educating the parents of that as well. It's not just what you typically think of as, well, I don't have needs, so I'm not going to qualify. It's the other things they look at, even if it's, work study or outside institutional scholarships and different things that could benefit them. And through increasing our FAFSA completion rate, we've also increased our help grant rate. So like the students that receive help grant in the state, they may not always realize that they qualify. And for some of those students, they don't even realize going to community college or university is attainable until they realize they can qualify for that.
Yeah, I think Dr. White and Miss Michelle really hit the nail on the head. Just talking it up. I mean, that's really what benefited my students the most because the previous year before I had this get to college information, it was just like, okay, y'all, let's get it done. And this year, we made it a test grade to an exam grade, really a project to fill out your FAFSA, to fill out your state aid, to fill out 3 college applications. And just seeing that being done, I think it really showed the kids like, oh, okay, like this is beneficial to me. And during that whole process, we're also doing other things and really breaking down the financial side of it, I think really helps my students. I think my students saw the benefit of oh, hey, here's how much tuition, here's how much room and board is, here's how much all of this costs, and that number and that figure is scary. I mean, it's very scary, and every one of my students, they're terrified of the word loan, terrified of it. Maybe that's a little bit have to do with me. I kind of put the little fear factor of it, but when I tell them, hey, if you qualify for full Pell Grant, here's what you got. You get state MTAG, here's what you got. And we broke it down step by step. Got a little tedious, got a little tiresome. Some of my students are like, okay, we get it, we get it, we get it. Okay. But breaking everything down and saying, all right, go ahead and subtract that. Go ahead and subtract that. Go ahead and subtract that. And that number became a lot more manageable. And instead of seeing this big, gigantic $20,000 sign, it became a lot more attainable that said, okay, look, I can make this number work. I can make this new figure work. And relating it and trying to be real and honest instead of just saying, oh, hey, go do. It really, I think, has changed the way that I view how I go about talking about this whole approach and how to apply for schools.
I guess for me, getting students to jump on that early was very important because you have to allow time for the communicating back and forth between FAFSA and the student or parent, to allow time to maybe correct any errors, get any extra supporting documentation that may be needed. And I guess I'll kind of piggyback off of what Coach Mordecai said, knowing what your costs are versus what you'll have to spend out of pocket. And I also stress to students that yes, FAFSA will cover your tuition, room and board, but there are also extra costs that a grant or a any type of financial aid would not cover. If you're staying on campus, you're going to need things for your room, and that those things can start to add up. So, again, for me, I'll contact parents, and a lot like with the updates with FAFSA, it has been 1,000 times easier to get this done. So just stay in contact with parents, and honestly, I've called parents maybe 2 or 3 times a day and stressed to them how important it was to go ahead and get this completed for your student because when April and May rolls around, you are already behind. You need to have should have already gotten your award letter by then, so you'll know exactly what you'll have to spend out of pocket for your student. Pull the student in and just have a conversation with them and stress to them how important it is. And I get parents' phone numbers. I get parents' email addresses. I'll contact them. I'll send them out. I actually send an email along with verbally speaking with the parent. And there's actually one parent I met at Starbucks and kind of sat with her, brought my computer, and allowed her to get online to complete her parent portion for her child.
And Brian, I think it helps to like have that open door policy because once the parents know like you can come in, I will help you, I will jump on a Zoom with you, I will walk you through it. This is how you accept your invitation code, and kind of walking them through that. And we've also put some of that information out on the counselor newsletter. They put it on their senior seminar newsletter. So we're tagging it in multiple places, and even doing short videos where I just kind of jump on and say, okay, this is how you log on. This is what you do. This is what you'll need, and walking them through that, but just being available to help them, because a lot of parents don't know, and kind of working them through that. And even if they have had an older student, with the new change, it's a little bit different. So how do you accept your invitation, and what's the best way to find that? Just kind of learning all those little quick tips that we can help parents with, I think has helped as well.
I mean, certainly I'll piggyback off both what Miss Michelle and Miss Kelly mentioned. Taking just a few extra minutes. I mean, like, I've had to call parents, and, you know, I'm not going to say they don't listen to their children, but I think when their children tell them something, they may not see the value in it as much as when a teacher calls, or when a counselor calls, or when the career coach calls. And so, I had two students, I think just last week, I called the parents and they got it done right away. They just needed that little push, that little nudge. And so I think doing that sort of helped kind of get us over the hump as it relates to the numbers that you see for Terry this year. I think that was a big part of it too.
Yes, I can definitely say that because I currently have two older daughters that are in college, and I was a part of the process when it was difficult. And I can honestly say now it is very simple. And that is also something that I tell parents. Once you get this first part done, once you go back in each year, it's easier. Like you're really just going in, making sure all of your information is still current. So yes, I definitely see that it has become a lot easier to navigate.
And it's easier, I think. Now it's easier to get the parents on board in some ways, because we're not asking for their financial information. The parents enter it themselves when they get that invitation. And in some ways, I think that's kind of made it easier for them to connect with the schools on getting it done. And we still also, like, we have the Get to College information filled out. If you need extra support, you can make an appointment with Get to College. They're an outside agency that'll help. So I know we've had students to take us up on that as well. Yes, that's the way I track who we still need to target as maybe their FAFSA is not in. Um, because that's like the only place I know to drill down the specific student data. So I will pull that, and I'm in the process of pulling it even more so that when we come back from spring break, we can make that final push to get everybody in by the March 30th deadline.
Trying as much as possible to get students to see the value in completing the application. Number two, having them complete it in class, not depending on them to do it after school, but having them come to school prepared with whatever information they need to get the application, the student portion done in class. And then three, to Coach Mordecai's point, maybe putting a grade to it. When they know they're getting credit for something, they're a little bit more apt to get it done. So talking it up, having students complete it in class. And, for one of my classes, I think I had, or a couple, up to 30 students, right? And so I would suggest having multiple people in a class, because one person being pulled in a lot of directions with students doing this huge application for the very first time, I think having at least two adults in the room to help them navigate the process would be helpful. So talking it up, completing the application in class, associating a grade with it. I think that, and staying connected with parents.
And
Yes, that was kind of what I was going to say. For me, collaboration is key. I guess my thought process is it takes a village, and it does take a village to get this to get us to that number that we're at now. So I think when Miss White did her FAFSA days, I came in a few of her blocks and, just kind of assisted her students with, whatever it is that they needed assistance with. So yeah, my thing is collaboration.
And I would say use your resources, get involved in College Countdown Mississippi. That's like they talk about the grade, but we made it a big portfolio, and we've steadily grown our different components to that. Like apply to the three college, and we tell them like research shows if you apply to three, you're more likely to go somewhere. So just letting them know their options, forcing them to do the research on it, and then building it up to the FAFSA days, because they talk about the grade, but we made it a huge portfolio project that included all the things, the college applications, resumes, and then the financial aid component was in there. So all the different things leading up to in May, we'll have our academic signing day, and we have a huge celebration. And we've had one of my coaches that works with me has whoever does the sports casting for the football team come in, and they YouTube it and they sportscast it, and they make it like it's an announcement, and it's these students are signing with this, and they interview students. But we try to like really build that up, and it's gotten better each year to where it's like a huge thing. Every May we do that here. So just utilizing those resources, and then don't be afraid of it. But like there's still some things, like I've been doing this for a while, Brian, and you can remember when I was terrified to do a FAFSA. And you forced me out of that comfort zone, but don't be afraid of it. It's if it's gonna benefit the kids, just kind of gotta step out there and do it.
Uh, yeah. So I mean, every answer there is perfect, spot on. So I'm really just going to reiterate everything. From year one to year two, I think the biggest challenge that I've had is that I don't have to feel like I'm looking over everybody's shoulder to make sure they do it. You got to think this process for each student is daunting and it's nerve-wracking because they start viewing this as this is the rest of their life. So being over their shoulder, looking over their shoulder, helping them out, saying, "Hey, check this out," or "Go this way," or "Talk to your parent about this." Um, Dr. White talked about talking them up, talking it up, talking it up, and I think to harp on that, be consistent. And I think being consistent with this whole process, going, all right, hey, here's what we got. We got FAFSA. We're going to fill out this. And then the same day, then the next day, and then the next day, and just being consistent with it, at least 2, 3 times a week, mention it, talk about it, and then talk about state aid. And then, it's tough for a teacher to stay consistent and stay on top of students because you try to preach to them, hey, you're 18 years old, you're about to be an adult, you've got to start taking care of things yourself. So as soon as you get that message across and are consistent, I think everything becomes much simpler, much easier. And I think no offense, Miss Michelle, Miss Kelly, I think that makes it easier for y'all too, because they're staying consistent as well. So it's simplified the process for y'all. Whereas in the past, it might have just been all up to y'all. So, I mean, having teachers being consistent with all that process makes everything down the line a little simpler.